METAMORPHOSES by Ovid, Book 11, The Death of Orpheus. While Orpheus sang his minstrel songs and charmed the rocks and woods and creatures of the wild to follow, suddenly, as he swept his strings in concord with his song, a frenzied band of Thracian women, wearing skins of beasts, from some high ridge of ground caught sight of him. "Look," shouted one of them, tossing her hair that floated in the breeze. "Look, there he is, the man who scorns us." And she threw her lance full in Apollo's minstrel's face. But tipped with leaves, it left a bruise but drew no blood. Another hurled a stone, that in mid-air was vanquished by the strains of voice and lyre, and grovelled at his feet, as if to ask pardon for frenzy's daring. Even so the reckless onslaught swelled, their fury knew no bounds, stark madness reigned, and still his singing would have charmed every weapon, but the huge clamour, the drums, the curving Phrygian fifes, hand-clapping, Bacchic screaming, drowned the lyre. And then at last, his song unheard, his blood reddened the stones. The Maenads first pounced on the countless birds still spellbound by his song, the snakes, the host of creatures of the wild, his glory and his triumph. Next they turned their bloody hands on Orpheus, flocking like birds that have seen a midnight owl abroad by day, or in the amphitheatre upon the morning sand a pack of hounds round a doomed stag. They rushed upon the bard, hurling their leaf-dressed lances, never meant for work like that. And some slung clods, some flints, some branches torn from trees, unless they lacked good weapons for their fury, as it chanced, oxen were toiling there to plough the land, and brawny farmhands digging their hard fields not far away, and sweating for their crop. Seeing the horde of women, they fled and left their labour's armoury, and all across the empty acres lay their heavy rakes, hoes, and long-handled mattocks. Seizing these, those frantic women tore apart the oxen that threatened with their horns, and streamed to slay the bard. He pleaded then with hands outstretched, and in that hour for the first time his words were useless and his voice of no avail. In sacrilege they slew him. Through those lips, great Lord of heaven, that held the rocks entranced, that wild beasts understood, he breathed his last, and forth into the winds his spirit passed. The sorrowing birds, the creatures of the wild, the woods that often followed as he sang, the flinty rocks and stones all wept and mourned for Orpheus. Forest trees cast down their leaves, tonsured in grief, and rivers too, men say, were swollen with their tears. And naiads wore, and dryads too, their mourning robes of black and hair dishevelled. All around his limbs lay scattered. Hebrus's stream received his head and lyre, and floating by, so wonderful, his lyre sent sounds of sorrow, and his tongue, lifeless, still murmured sorrow, and the banks gave sorrowing reply. And then they left their native river, carried out to sea, and gained Methamophos's shore on Lesbos' isle. There, as his head lay on that foreign sand, its tumbled tresses dripping, a fierce snake threatened, until at last Apollo came to thwart it as it struck and froze to stone that serpent's open mouth, and petrified, just as they were, its jaws that gaped so wide.